This video will take a look at the eMark XERO integration and demonstrate how to sync invoices and purchase orders, including both sales data and cost of goods. So the first thing you need to do is decide which account is going to be pushing the data, and you need to then sync that account back to XERO. So if we go to the My Account page on the front end and we scroll down, we should see a XERO account synchronization here. If we click on this, it will take us through to XERO. So from here, we then need to log in to XERO. And this will then ask us to confirm access back to the portal. And so just to recap, what we've done there is we've taken an eMark login and synced it to an existing XERO login so that the portal can push data into XERO with that account, and then it can pull data back. So once this has been done, we typically have a job that runs on the server every hour, and it will attempt to look for any invoices and purchase orders and push them into XERO. So as a very basic example, if we go into the invoicing section and search for an existing invoice, so we can see here's an invoice here which is currently pending export. So this is broken down with two workflows. The first workflow down the bottom here just tracks the life cycle of the invoice itself, from being created and edited, capturing payment and so on. And the top one here is directly in relation to exporting into an accounting system. So we can see this one here is pending export. So the job is going to be run now on the web server, and so that has now been run, so we'll just refresh the page and we can see that that's now been exported successfully. So in order to configure your account codes for XERO, it can be done in one of three ways. We can set different codes on an individual product category, a product manufacturer, and then all the way down to an individual product. So if a product has a particular account code for its category and we wish to change it just for the one product inside that category, we can do so by overriding it on the product. So if we take a look at an example just on a category, we just go into merchant and then products, and then from categories we click on the category list page, and if we just edit one of these categories, on the right hand side here you'll see that we have three sets of account codes. So the main one for sales to be pushed in is the income account. So whenever we generate an invoice to a customer, the total sales and the invoice will go into this particular account code. If you wish to track cost of goods and your inventory on hand, you'll also need to use the asset account and the expense account. So the expense account is your cost of goods. So whenever you sell a product, the cost of that product can be sent to XERO, which adds a positive entry into your cost of goods sold account. So that is treated as an expense, which offsets your sales revenue. The third one, the asset account, is used to keep a journal of your inventory on hand, which can be obviously useful in things like running balance sheets. So what we do with this account is we put in a negative entry into the inventory account, which is the same value that goes into the expense account. So just tying that all together now, if you're syncing both sales and cost of goods, when you generate an invoice for the customer, let's say the invoice is for $100, the $100 value will go into the income account as a positive amount. A second invoice will then be generated using the cost of goods of the product sold. So let's say it's $50. The $50 would be populated as a positive entry into your expense account, offsetting the sales. And then on that same second invoice, a negative entry will be added with the same dollar amount of -50, which will decrement your inventory on hand. So the end result is a second invoice with two entries on it, one for positive $50 and one for negative $50, meaning it's a $0 invoice with nothing to pay, and that will allow us to balance the cost of goods and the inventory.